Salute, guys. Today we're going to go over lines 102 to 123, and we're going to do it fairly quickly. This is actually a section that we're kind of skipping here, but we're just going over so we can stick with the narrative. So what we just covered before is that Aeneid, the first spoken words of Aeneid, and he wishes he died back at Troy. As he sees this storm about to hit his fleet, he thinks he's going to die on the Mediterranean Sea, and he wishes he had died back at Troy fighting for his country. All right, so this section we're going to cover right now is just a description of the storm hitting the boats. So this is describing Aeneid, so it's like literally him tossing such things or saying such things. A howling squall from the north wind, I believe. That's actually the word for eagle. Strikes. A howling squall from the north wind strikes opposite his sail and raises waves to the stars. All right, that's a literary device that we're going to take note of. That is called a hyperbole. A hyperbole is an exaggeration. These waves are not actually going to the stars. So literally that is not happening. It's a little bit of an exaggeration, which in the literary world is called a hyperbole. Hyperbole. All right. The oars are broken. Remi are oars in Latin. The oars are broken. Then the prow turns over or turns away. The prow is the front of the ship. And gives its side, latus side, undis to the waves. And gives its side to the waves. A massive mountain of water follows in a mass. A mountain of water, that's another hyperbole. So a mountain of water follows in a mass. Here, this is referring to like men. So like these men hang on the sumo, the height of a wave, or on the crest of a wave. These men hang on the top of a wave. For these men, a gaping wave reveals the land between the waves. So one of the waves is so big that you can see the land underneath. The tide, Eistus, the tide rages with sand. And that's the word for sand in Latin. All right, the notus, that's another direction of the wind. Forget which direction. So the wind twists, torquet. You get torque from that. The wind, the notus twists 3, and this is referring to 3 ships. There's no word for ships in here. So the notus twists 3, having been snatched onto Latentia Saxa, onto hiding rocks. And then this little aside, very random here. The Italians call these rocks, which are in the middle of the waves, the altars. The altars. And I think that someone actually found these rocks on the Mediterranean. They're just big rocks in the middle of the ocean that stick out, and they're near Sicily. So there's a chance that Virgil is referring to an actual rock structure in the Mediterranean. So the Italians call these rocks, which are in the middle of the waves, the altars. All right, and this also describes these rocks. An immense ridge on these, like literally on the height of the sea or on the surface of the sea. All right, the Eurus. And that's another direction of the winds. The Eurus, drives 3, and referring to 3 ships again. The Eurus drives 3 from the sea, from the deep, into the shallows and the shoals. Certes are like like reefs or something like that. Miserabile visu. I think this is our first time seeing this. Virgil uses it a couple times, more than a couple times, and it means like miserable to behold. Miserable to behold. So kind of an aside here. So the Eurus drives three from the deep into the shallows and the shoals, miserable to behold, and kind of like and drives them into the shallows, kind of redundant, and encircles them with a ditch of sand. With a ditch of sand. Okay, the one, referring to one ship. It's accusative, so it's not our main verb yet. So one which was carrying, you get vehicle from that. One which was carrying the Lycians and faithful Orontes. Okay, this is a Trojan leader. I once had ambitions of adopting a pit bull and naming him Orontes. I thought that was a cool, like, English bulldog, or not pit bull, bulldog, an English bulldog name. All right, anyway. So one which was carrying the Lycians and faithful Orontes in front of his eyes himself. In front of his eyes himself, referring to Aeneid. The huge sea strikes from its peak onto its stern, or onto the ship even. The magister. So, magister is teacher, but when referring to boats, it's the person who's like in charge of the boat, or the helmsman, the driver. And the helmsman is thrown off, pronus, head first. And the helmsman is thrown off head first and is rolled onto his head. All right. 3 times the wave twists that ship, referring to ship again. So 3 times the wave twists that ship in the same place, driving it around. Ibidem, in the same place. Driving it around. And the rapid vortex devours it in the sea. All right, so one boat which was carrying Orontes, the ocean totally destroys. All right, scattered men nantes, swimming. You can see the present participle form. Scattered men swimming appear in a vast whirlpool. So scattered men swimming appear in a vast whirlpool. You get gurgle from that. And these are things you could see. The arms of men and tabulae and planks and Troia Gaza, Trojan treasure through the waves. A rare Z in Latin, which means that this word is borrowed from a different language. And the Gaza Strip in the Middle East. So it is the Latin word for treasure. And like I said, probably not an original Latin word. So, and Trojan treasure through the waves. Now, the strong ship of Ilioneus. Okay, this is a guy we're going to see later. Now the strong ship of Ilioneus, now of brave Achates, and the one on which Abbas was carried, get vector from that, and the one on which Abbas was carried, and on which the old-aged Elites, the storm has conquered. So 4 different ships here. Ilioneus' ship, we're going to see him later. He survives. Achates, that's Aeneas' kind of right-hand man. We're going to see him again, too. He will survive this. And these 2 other guys, I believe they survive, too. So, every ship in this fleet has its own commander. And these are all high-ranking Trojan survivors. These are all Aeneas' most trusted men. So all these ships get destroyed. Hiems is normally the Latin word for winter, but can mean storm. So the storm has conquered. They all receive inimicum imbrem, hostile water. It's another word for water. I think it's more of a word for like a murky water. So they all receive hostile water with their joints of the sides loosened. With the joints of the sides loosened. And totally drawn a blank on this verb. I've done this a million times. I think it's and the oars are broken. I think so. We're going to go with that. And the oars are broken. All right. So, so the storm destroys a lot of boats. Okay. We get some references to different, and the purpose of this a lot is to introduce some of these other Trojans. We're going to see some of these guys later in book one. And Achates is the next in command below Aeneas, and Ilioneus is going to talk to Dido in a scene later in book one. All right, so right now it appears that all these people have died, but some of them do survive. Okay, so that's it. The storm is causing havoc on the Trojan fleet. Okay, picking up some boats, throwing them on rocks, overturning some boats. Men are in the water, and mass chaos. All right, so when we pick up, we're going to see Neptune appear, and he's the god of the ocean. So we'll see what he does. Okay, thanks for tuning in, and I will talk to you guys later. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I will say walite to you. Bye.